Ever wondered about the ancient wars of Israel and how they tie into biblical prophecies? Let's step back in time, to the early years of Israel's history. Picture a land steeped in conflict, a nation struggling to establish its identity amidst surrounding enemies. Consider the Battle of Jericho, where the Israelites, led by Joshua, brought down the city's walls with nothing but the sound of trumpets and a collective shout. This was not just a military victory but a fulfillment of divine prophecy, a testament to the power of faith. Then there's the conquest of Canaan, a critical chapter in Israel's history. This was a land promised to Abraham and his descendants by God himself. The fulfillment of this promise amidst overwhelming odds once again underlined the intertwining of Israel's wars with biblical prophecy. These are but glimpses into a tapestry of conflict and prophecy that has marked Israel's history. As the centuries passed, the nation of Israel continued to face conflict and war. The Roman era marked a significant turning point for Israel. As the Roman Empire expanded, it set its sights on the vibrant and resilient region of Israel. This period was characterized by a series of Jewish-Roman wars, fierce battles that were more than just political or territorial disputes, but were also deeply spiritual conflicts. In fact, these tumultuous times were prophesied in the Bible itself. In the book of Daniel, it was foretold that a great power would rise and cause unprecedented destruction, which many scholars believe to be a reference to the Roman Empire. The aftermath of these wars led to a monumental event in Jewish history: the diaspora. The Jewish people were dispersed far and wide, forced to leave their homeland. Yet even in the face of such adversity, they did not lose their identity. They held on to their faith, their culture, their language, and their prophecies. Despite being scattered around the globe, the Jewish people held on to their identity and their prophecies. Fast forward to the 20th century, a new chapter begins for Israel. The monumental year of 1948 marked the establishment of modern Israel, an event that was nothing short of a phoenix rising from the ashes. The journey, however, was far from smooth. The fledgling nation found itself tossed into the tumultuous waters of conflict, with wars such as the War of Independence and the Six-Day War testing its mettle. These weren't just battles for land or power but for existence itself. Yet, despite the trials and tribulations, Israel emerged, time and again, victorious. To some, these victories weren't mere coincidences, but the fulfillment of biblical prophecies. Prophetic texts spoke of a nation reborn, a people returning to their homeland, and wars that would test their resolve. Yet, the nation of Israel continued to stand, as if echoing the words of prophecies from centuries past. Opening. In our current era, Israel is still a hotbed of conflict. As we venture into contemporary times, we find that the land of milk and honey has remained entangled in a web of disputes and tensions. Foremost among these is the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a bitter struggle for land and identity that has spanned over 7 decades and continues to shape the region's narrative. Simultaneously, Israel finds itself in a precarious position amidst regional power dynamics, with Iran's nuclear ambitions and Syria's civil war stirring the pot of instability. Now, where does biblical prophecy fit into all this? Well, interpretations vary widely. Some scholars argue that these modern conflicts are echoes of ancient rivalries prophesied in texts like Genesis 16:12, where it is said that Ishmael, the father of the Arab nations, will live in hostility towards all his brothers. Others view these conflicts as the birth pangs of a new era, a prelude to the prophesied end times and the coming of the Antichrist. Yet others caution against overzealous interpretations, highlighting the complexity of these issues and warning against reducing them to mere fulfillments of prophecy. They argue that such views oversimplify the realities on the ground and risk inflaming already high tensions. Closing. So, what does all this mean for the future? This brings us to the prophecies of the end times and the role Israel plays in them. The biblical narrative, filled with prophecies, has often been a point of intense study and speculation. One such prophecy is found in the book of Daniel, where it speaks of a time of distress, such as has not happened from the beginning of nations until then. Some interpret this as a reference to the Great Tribulation, a period of unprecedented strife and conflict. Now, how does this tie in with Israel, you might ask? Well, there's also the prophecy in the book of Zechariah that states, "Jerusalem will be a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces." This has been seen by some as a prediction of the ongoing conflicts and tensions that surround modern-day Israel. Adding to the intrigue, there are numerous references to the Antichrist in the New Testament, particularly in the books of Thessalonians and Revelation. The Antichrist is described as a formidable figure who will rise to power in the end times, deceiving many and leading them astray. Some theorists argue that current world events signal the imminent arrival of this prophesied figure. However, it's important to remember that these are just interpretations, and interpretations can vary widely. Some see these prophecies as literal predictions of future events, while others view them as symbolic or metaphorical. Some even see them as reflections of the time they were written, rather than forecasts of the future. Despite these differing viewpoints, one thing is clear: the history of Israel is deeply intertwined with these biblical prophecies. This tiny nation has been the stage for countless historical events that have shaped the course of human history, and according to these prophecies, it will continue to play a crucial role in the events yet to come. Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, the history of Israel and its ties to biblical prophecies presents a captivating narrative that continues to unfold. As we watch the events of the world unfold, it's fascinating to consider how they might relate to these ancient writings. Regardless of your stance on their validity or interpretation, these prophecies and their potential connections to present-day events provide plenty of food for thought.